My 60-year-old mother-in-law, living in the countryside, suddenly became obsessed with beauty treatments to an embarrassing degree. She spent 100 yuan on lip fillers at a dodgy salon, 200 yuan on mesotherapy for glowing skin. And because she loved a bargain, she wanted cheap facelift surgery to regain her peak beauty from when she was 30. I kindly reminded her, with these beauty services, you get what you pay for. 9 out of 10 small, untrustworthy salons in town are scams. Be careful, or you might ruin your face, and the benefits won't outweigh the harm. My mother-in-law immediately burst into tears, whining, "Why is my life so miserable? I spend a little bit of the family's money, and someone has to nag me about it." My husband, Leo, immediately yelled at me, "You unfilial child, my mother has worked hard her entire life. What's wrong with her getting a little beauty treatment now? I didn't make you a housewife so you could stay home. I made you work to earn money for my mother to spend. Don't talk about 1 or 2,000. She can throw tens of thousands into it if she wants. Dare to utter one more word of nonsense and you'll see what happens." Hearing these words, I let out a laugh. It turned out Leo still didn't know. The money his mother was spending on these embarrassing things was actually his. Leo and I had been married for 3 years and still hadn't had children. My mother-in-law was so anxious she fell ill and couldn't get out of bed. Leo took her back to our hometown in the countryside to rest for a while. The result was that today, when my mother-in-law video called, I immediately noticed something was very wrong with her face. "Mom, what happened to your mouth? Did a bee sting you?" Her mouth was red and swollen, looking exactly as if she was holding a sausage in it. I thought she'd been greedy again, provoked a beehive at our neighbor uncle's house, and gotten stung. To my surprise, my mother-in-law said, "If you don't know how to speak properly, don't talk. I got lip fillers. In a few days, they'll turn into plump, rosy cherry lips." It was then I realized the beauty trend had spread even to the county seat. Now, many hair salons, nail salons, and even wellness hair wash shops were starting to offer aesthetic services. They built good relationships with elderly people who had disposable income to promote their beauty products. My mother-in-law had recently often mentioned the owner of a wellness hair wash shop named Mimi, saying that Mimi treated her like her own mother. Anything good, Mimi would think of her first. I even got a 70% discount. Lip fillers and mesotherapy in the city would cost thousands, but Mimi only charged me 300 yuan. She also complimented me, saying I was a beauty in my youth and my skin only sagged because I didn't take care of it. So next week, I'm getting a full facelift and collagen microneedling. It'll only cost 1,000 yuan, and I can return to my 30s. Isn't that an amazing deal? My mother-in-law was completely immersed in the illusion of beauty, unaware of anything abnormal. But I had friends in the beauty industry who had warned me countless times not to casually choose beauty establishments, and especially not to be greedy for cheap prices when getting facial treatments. Thinking of this, I advised my mother-in-law, "Mom, how can there be such cheap beauty services? For reputable aesthetic hospitals, the cost of the products alone is far more than that. Be careful, you might be scammed. Moreover, your mouth doesn't look like a normal reaction to lip fillers. It looks inflamed and swollen." Money? I was about to say that losing money was a small matter, but ruining her face would be catastrophic, when my mother-in-law suddenly wailed and sobbed like a ghost. Leo, who was showering in the bathroom with his head still covered in soap suds, rushed out. "Mom, don't cry. Whatever it is, your son will handle it for you." Leo snatched the phone from my hand and started frantically comforting his mother. My mother-in-law squeezed out a few tears and began accusing me. "My whole life hasn't been easy at all. Your father passed away early, and I struggled tooth and nail alone to raise you. Now I just spent 300 yuan on a few beauty services, and your wife has an opinion. You tell me, what's the point of me living anymore? I might as well go down there with your father and be done with it." Hearing that, Leo gave me a sharp glare. I was about to open my mouth to explain, but he walked straight into the bedroom and locked the door. Through the door, I heard him gently comforting his mother. "Mom, spend the money in your hand however you like. When it runs out, just ask Lily. She wouldn't dare not give it to you." My husband was incredibly indulgent with his mother. Not only did he not recognize the risks of a 60-year-old getting beauty treatments, but he also praised her against his conscience, saying she looked much younger lately. My mother-in-law was so happy she laughed aloud. My son truly has an eye for beauty. Once I transform back to my 30s, I'll find you a rich stepfather so you won't have to strive, and can become a second-generation rich kid directly. The two of them continued to flatter each other like this for 20 minutes before finally hanging up. As soon as Leo left the room, his face turned dark. He pointed at my nose and yelled, "Lily, who gave you the guts to meddle in my mother's spending? I already told you, whoever causes trouble for my mother causes trouble for me. Besides, my mother has worked hard her entire life. What's wrong with her spending a few hundred yuan on beauty treatments now?" Seeing his attitude, I was furious, but I thought that if something happened to my mother-in-law, it would ultimately be Leo and me who suffered. So I tried to suppress my anger and advised, "Do you know what Mom is spending money on? She's getting cosmetic procedures. It's very dangerous. If she's not careful, it could ruin her face." Leo scoffed. "Mimi at the hair salon grew up with me since childhood. How could she harm my mother? Many aunts in town also get treatments there. Have you seen anyone suffer? I think you're just being stingy with money." He crossed his legs, speaking even more outrageously. "You've been married to me for 3 years and can't even carry a pregnancy. If it were any other family, they would have divorced you ages ago. I was kind enough to take you in. I didn't make you a housewife so you could stay home. I made you work to earn money for my mother to spend. Don't talk about 1 or 2,000. She can throw tens of thousands into it if she wants. Dare to utter one more word of nonsense, and you'll see what happens." Hearing these words, I couldn't hold back anymore. "Leo, are you even a man? You haven't made a single penny with your startups these past few years. If I hadn't worked overtime to earn money, this rundown house of yours would have been sold off ages ago. The 2-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment we lived in was public welfare housing provided by the state, without an elevator, old and dilapidated. Its only advantage was being near a good school. 2 months ago, Leo discussed with someone about reviving his career. He secretly sold the house to a friend whose child was about to start school, without telling his mother. To avoid suspicion, he paid his friend rent in advance and continued living in the sold house. After selling the house, Leo's intended startup project suddenly ran into problems. The money from the house sale was temporarily deposited into a bank card. Leo thought he had hidden the bank card very well, but unfortunately, I discovered it while cleaning. While I was holding the bank card, examining it, my mother-in-law caught me. Without a word, she snatched the card, her tone sarcastic. Well, Lily, you can't have children, and now you're learning to hide your own money. Don't you know that when a woman marries, all her assets belong to her husband's family? Hand over the bank password now." I had always known my mother-in-law held a prejudice against me for not having children. But I never expected her to treat me like property of the Leo family. I immediately swallowed back the words, "This card isn't mine," and tried to recall a few passwords Leo commonly used. "Mom, I haven't used this card in a long time. Here are 5 passwords, you can try them yourself." My mother-in-law got the passwords and left contentedly. A few days later, she returned to the countryside to spend the money on beauty treatments, and that's how today's drama unfolded. Hearing my anger, Leo appeared indifferent. "Lily, even if you can't stand it, you'll have to endure. Now isn't the time to wait for a divorce. If I don't agree to a divorce, you'll have to stay with the Leo family and work like an ox or a horse to earn money for me, even if it kills you." Listen to that, is that something a human would say? If Leo and his mother no longer regarded me as human, then I didn't need to be kind anymore either. So, it's about spending money to make Mom happy. I completely agreed. After all, I wouldn't get a share of the money on that card anyway. My mother-in-law wanted to spend money on shoddy beauty treatments. Not only would I not interfere, but I would also actively encourage her. I wanted to see if Leo would still be so filial and joyful if he knew the money being thrown into it was his own. Encouraged by Leo, my mother-in-law went to Mimi's salon the very next day. She spent 1,000 yuan on a facelift and 2,000 yuan on a combination of mesotherapy injections and collagen microneedling. Seeing that her eyelids weren't pretty, my mother-in-law also listened to Mimi's persuasion and spent 1,000 yuan on double eyelid surgery. By the end of the day, my mother-in-law's face was wrapped in bandages, her upper eyelids covered with 2 pieces of gauze. Even talking and drinking water were difficult. Leo video called her, showing concern. "Mom, getting beautiful like this is so tough. Can you handle it?" My mother-in-law carefully replied. "It's fine. Mimi said you have to endure a little pain to be beautiful. The aesthetic doctor said my skin was quite wrinkled from years of neglect, so I need a few more facelifts for it to be effective. Next month, just wait for your beautiful 30-year-old mother." My mother-in-law thought she could endure the pain, but when her eyelids swelled so much she couldn't open them and her entire face throbbed relentlessly, she began to panic. She called me, telling me to hurry back to town and take her to the hospital. I was busy with work, why would I bother with her? I coldly comforted her. Mom, doing 3 procedures at once, pain is unavoidable. Didn't you say you have to suffer to be beautiful? If you rush to the hospital to remove the bandages, wouldn't it affect the aesthetic results? Hearing results, my mother-in-law's resolve strengthened a little. Just then, Mimi from the hair salon brought some items to visit my mother-in-law. Hearing my mother-in-law was in unbearable pain, Mimi feigned distress. Auntie, you probably didn't eat anything yesterday, right? I brought you some porridge. Pain from beauty treatments is unavoidable, but it just proves the service is working. You're just a bit older, so your recovery is a little slower. You'll be fine in a few days. My mother-in-law squinted her swollen eyes, enjoying Mimi feeding her porridge, not forgetting to put me down. Lily, look, Mimi is so busy, yet she still comes all the way here to take care of me, unlike you, who can't be relied on for anything. I sneered. Mom, if you think Mimi is so good, then support her business wholeheartedly. Mimi rejoiced. Auntie, you're beautiful inside and out. You've introduced so many friends to my salon, I'm incredibly grateful. I've even brought a special big gift for you today. Mimi announced that my mother-in-law, for using her salon services, had won the company's Rejuvenation grand prize. The prize was a beauty package worth over 1 million yuan, but the condition was to pay a 150,000 yuan service fee. My mother-in-law hesitated a bit. I won a prize, but I still have to pay 150,000 yuan? Mimi sweetly held her hand. Auntie, you misunderstood. We're not taking this 150,000 yuan, it's preloaded onto your card. Plus, we're giving you another 1 million to help you get full-body beauty treatments to regain your youthful 30-year-old figure. What you deposit will be added to the card, and you'll get an additional bonus. This was a typical money laundering scam, and I didn't believe it, but my mother-in-law seemed swayed. Lily, this opportunity to get money and beauty at the same time, let me use your money to deposit, okay? Next time I go back to the countryside, I'll take you to try it too. Since it wasn't my money, I naturally didn't care. Mom, Leo already said before that as long as you want to get beautiful, it doesn't matter if you throw tens of thousands into it. Mimi immediately flattered her. Brother Leo is both talented and filial. Everyone in our town admires you, Auntie. You'll have great fortune in the future. My mother-in-law was so happy that the bandages on her face trembled. Without another word, she pulled out the card and swiped the POS machine. As soon as my mother-in-law spent 150,000 yuan, Leo at home began searching for the bank card. That's strange, I clearly put that card behind the bedside cabinet and taped it there. How could it be gone? Lily, did you steal my card? Leo couldn't find the card and immediately blamed me. I was hoping my mother-in-law would spend all of Leo's remaining money, so how could I easily tell him? I feigned displeasure. Are you mistaken? How would I know you hid the bank card there? Did you bring someone home and they stole it? After all, you have many shady friends. Leo looked at me suspiciously for a moment. Seeing that I really hadn't taken it, he angrily slapped his forehead. I knew it. Why has Harry had so much money to spend lately? It turns out he stole my money. Let's see how I deal with him. Harry was Leo's childhood friend. He'd liked petty theft since he was young. Since both of them were idlers, they often hung out together. Seeing Leo storm out full of murderous intent to pick a fight with Harry, I quickly video called my mother-in-law. Using the excuse that her ID card, which was registered for the bank card, was about to expire, I urged my mother-in-law to get a new one. I'm 60 years old, what do I know about making a card? Or should you tell Leo to come back and help me? I wanted to keep Leo in the dark, so how could I inform him? I made an excuse. Leo is busy with his startup lately, so tired he doesn't have time to sleep. How about you ask Mimi to go with you to the bank to withdraw money and apply for a new card? My mother-in-law, who always doted on her son, reacted first by blaming me for being a useless wife, making her son suffer. Our Leo family must have accumulated bad karma for 8 generations to end up with a daughter-in-law like you. You can't have children, and you're useless at earning money. My poor son can't enjoy a good life. Living at home, leeching off your wife, isn't that already comfortable? Then go beg. My mother-in-law indeed followed my advice, asking Mimi to help her renew the bank card and deposit the money. Those people were already trying every means to extract money from the elderly. Now seeing my mother-in-law with over 100,000 yuan in her hand, How could they easily let this prey escape? Meanwhile, Leo went to find Harry to demand the bank card back. Harry flatly denied it, even scolding Leo for being money-hungry and crazy. How could Leo endure such humiliation? Without another word, he grabbed his tools and started hitting Harry in the middle of a crowd, causing a gash on Harry's head that required stitches at the hospital. Harry's girlfriend called the police, and Leo was detained for intentional assault. When I went to the police station to visit Leo, he was still arrogant with his legs crossed. That Harry is a piece of trash. I hit a thief. I'm eliminating harm for society. What crime did I commit? He only got a small cut that needed a few stitches. It's not like he's dying. Leo didn't see himself as wrong at all, which infuriated Harry's girlfriend. Officer, look at his attitude. If that's the case, we don't need mediation. Just send him to jail. Leo sneered, don't think you can scare me like that. Harry stole my bank card with over 300,000 yuan. I'm even planning to sue him for theft. Harry's girlfriend angrily retorted, you're talking out of your mouth without proof. Can you provide evidence? Without evidence, you're slandering him. Leo was only relying on his speculation. How could he have evidence? He turned to the police. Officers, you can come to my house to get fingerprints and investigate Harry's spending. He suddenly had money to buy a car. He definitely stole my money. That's my entire fortune. The police stated that the theft accusation was a separate case, unrelated to today's assault. If Leo's attitude remained uncooperative and he didn't actively participate in mediation, the victim could continue with legal action and he risked going to jail. It was then that Leo realized the seriousness of the situation. He cleared his throat. All right, wasn't it just a head injury? I know you people only want money. My wife will compensate them a little for medical expenses. Let me out first, Harry's girlfriend sneered. My boyfriend's head injury, just tonight's examination and treatment cost 2,000 yuan, and we don't even know if there will be any lasting effects. How can a little money be enough? Seeing her raise the price, I feigned helplessness. I'm sorry, darling, but the stock market surged recently, and I invested all my money in it and suffered terrible losses. It looks like you'll have to stay at the police station for a few more days. Leo was furious. You rotten woman, that's marital property. By what right did you use it without permission? Leo slammed his hand against the bars. I pretended to be scared and coward. But darling, that's my salary, money I earned myself. Of course I decide how to use it. You didn't give me any of your money either. Leo's eyes were bloodshot, and he cursed incessantly. Are you stupid? You married into the Leo family, you live in my house. Your money is naturally my money. Why should I let you use my money? I don't care how you do it, you have to get back the money you lost in the stock market for me. Even if you work yourself to death at the company, at least you'll get some workers' compensation. Hearing his inhuman words, Harry's girlfriend frowned. Hey, Ms. Lily married you, she wasn't sold to you. For all these years, she's been dedicated to your family and you're forcing her to her death. Are you even human? Leo spat at her. What business is it of yours? She's my wife, I can beat her to death if I want. The police immediately warned him sternly. This is a police station, speak with some respect. Given your stubbornness, I have the right to extend your detention for a few more days. And so, Leo's detention was extended from 5 days to a week. During that time, half of the bandages on my mother-in-law's face had been removed. She saw a few fewer wrinkles and slightly tighter skin, filling her heart with immense joy. Under the flattery of Mimi and others, she rode on her success, getting 3 more services: facial sculpting, thermage, and ultrasound. Mimi held a raffle box, claiming it was a loyalty event for old customers. My mother-in-law once again, luckily, won the grand prize, a vaginal tightening service package worth 2 million yuan, but still requiring a 150,000 yuan service fee. This meant spending all her remaining money. My mother-in-law hesitated a little. Mimi then played her final card. Auntie, your whole body has become younger. Don't you want that part to become younger too? What's the fun in using your beauty to attract a rich old man? Wouldn't it be more fulfilling to captivate a young, rich second-generation heir who calls you sister? If you're worried about Leo and your daughter-in-law talking, don't mind them. I guarantee I'll take care of you and provide for your food and lodging. Several other touts nearby also instigated. A woman who has dedicated decades to her family, can't she even decide on this small amount of money? For once in your life, Auntie, you should live for yourself. My mother-in-law wavered a bit. Seeing this, Mimi introduced her to a few romance novels about gray-haired older women being madly pursued by rich young masters. My mother-in-law began to embody the role, sinking into delusion. I had just seen Mimi post on social media, celebrating her #1 VIP client, who, after topping up her membership card with 150,000 yuan, continued to top up another 150,000 yuan. I immediately guessed that person was definitely my mother-in-law. Leo knew nothing about any of this. After he was released from the police station, I quickly informed him. "Darling, I just remembered. It seems your bank card was taken by Mom." "Really, Lily? If you dare to lie to me, I'll beat you to death." Leo immediately called his mother to confirm. After hearing his mother say she had indeed taken a bank card from the master bedroom, Leo burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha, I can finally start my business and get rich again." He didn't listen to his mother's subsequent words and turned to contact his friends, planning a big deal. Regarding Harry and his girlfriend coming to his house to demand compensation for medical expenses, Leo was also extremely cheerful. "The money I lost truly wasn't taken by Harry. I'll compensate you 20,000 yuan later." Harry and his girlfriend didn't believe him. So Leo signed an IOU for them and then headed to town, intending to get the card from his mother. My mother-in-law, her upper body wrapped in bandages, looked utterly surprised to see us. "Son, why are you suddenly here? I just had breast augmentation surgery. I don't have time to cook for you." "It's fine. I just came back to get the bank card from the master bedroom." "How can you move around like this, Mom? Do you need me to find a helper to take care of you for a few days?" At this point, Leo was still feigning filial piety, but when he heard his mother say there wasn't a single penny left on the bank card, he exploded. "How can there be not a single penny left? That was 350,000 yuan." My mother-in-law stammered. "Mimi said she would give me millions in beauty services, breast augmentation, and vaginal tightening, so I deposited all the money at Mimi's salon." Leo angrily kicked over a chair. "Mom, are you out of your mind? Have you ever seen any old woman your age getting facelifts and breast implants?" My mother-in-law reasoned. "I did it to be more beautiful, to find you a rich stepfather. I only wanted what was best for you." Leo snarled and roared. "Best for me, my foot. You're truly foolish. If cosmetic surgery could turn a 60-year-old woman into a 30-year-old girl, do you think others would just sit around and wait? This is a trap for people who are both rich and stupid like you." Leo dragged his mother to the hair salon to find Mimi and demand his money back. But when we drove there, we only saw a large padlock hanging on the door. In front of the shop, a crowd of elderly men and women gathered, holding banners and shouting, "Scammers won't die peacefully." Inside, there wasn't a soul. My mother-in-law trembled in disbelief. "How can Mimi be a scammer? Last week, I still got services there, and she even fed me fish, saying she wanted to adopt me as her godmother." Leo grabbed his mother's hair, forcefully pushed her face against the glass door, and snarled, "Open your damn eyes and look, Mom. Your goddaughter has run away, taking all my money with her." Leo screamed hysterically at his mother. The other elderly people, holding banners and crying, immediately turned their attention to them. "Liu too, it was you who introduced this shop to us, and that's why we were scammed. Look at my face. What imported collagen microneedling? It completely ruined my face. The doctor said I'll have facial paralysis later, and my eyelids too. They said it would be fine in a few days, but now it's so ugly even ghosts would be disgusted." The faces of these elderly people all bore clear post-surgery complications. My mother-in-law mumbled, "I only introduced it to everyone because I thought it was effective. I'm not a tout. I had surgery too." My mother-in-law touched the bandages on her chest, her eyes welling up. The old woman with facial paralysis didn't believe her. "Look at my face. Do you still dare to say this hair salon services are effective?" The old woman spoke with no expression on her face, her mouth crooked and trembling. The old woman whose eyelid surgery was botched directly pushed my mother-in-law. "Who knows if you intentionally wrapped yourself in those bandages? I want to see what's underneath." I cautiously stepped back to avoid getting involved. They surrounded my mother-in-law and Leo, continuously pushing and shoving. My mother-in-law was pushed to the ground, and the bandages on her face and chest were torn off. Everyone saw her true appearance, and they were all horrified. Before the beauty treatments, although my mother-in-law had many wrinkles, one could at least still see glimpses of her youthful beauty. But now her face was full of scars, her nose sunken, and her breasts, though no longer flat, were covered in lumps that looked like festering pus. My mother-in-law saw the horrified expressions of everyone and quickly pulled out her phone to look at herself. The moment she saw it, she screamed in terror, "My face, my breasts, that wretched Mimi, I'll kill you." Overwhelmed by the intense shock, my mother-in-law quickly fainted and was taken to the hospital. Leo and the group of elderly people went to the police station to file a report. However, this type of case had occurred in many small towns. Many shop owners, for profit, bought substandard products online, lied that they were imported aesthetic drugs, and then arbitrarily performed procedures with scissors and scalpels on elderly people without professional knowledge or licenses. Once they had swindled a significant amount of money, they would quickly disappear. Not a few elderly people were both swindled out of money and had their faces ruined. Leo reported these details to his mother. She was filled with immense regret. "Leo, I worked hard my entire life for you and for this family. Now I've become neither human nor ghost. You can't abandon me." My mother-in-law wanted Leo to sell the house and give her over 100,000 yuan to go to the hospital for reconstructive surgery, at least to restore her face and breasts to a normal appearance. Leo snapped, "The money from selling the house has been completely spent by you, Mom. Where am I supposed to get more money for you?" My mother-in-law gasped. "No, that's impossible. The money I used was all Lily's. Are you mistaken, son?" I quickly interjected. "Mom, the bank card you picked up from the master bedroom was Leo's house sale money. You didn't even say a word before using it, causing your son so much trouble." I struck first, shifting the blame. My mother-in-law gritted her teeth, explaining, "That card was clearly given to me by you, saying it was your money and telling me to spend it freely. If I had known it was my son's house sale money, I wouldn't have touched it even if I starved to death." I immediately feigned injustice. "Mom, you're going too far. It's one thing to bully me normally, but why are you blaming me now? I advised you at the beginning not to trust these cheap things. You didn't listen and brought disaster upon yourself and others." Leo glared fiercely at his mother-in-law. "This 300,000 yuan is my entire fortune. I don't care how you do it, whether you scam or borrow, you have to cover this hole for me." My mother-in-law sobbed uncontrollably. "The doctor said my breasts are full of pus and need another surgery. Where am I supposed to get the money to pay you back? Are you trying to force me to die?" Leo didn't care about his mother's life or death. In his eyes, money was everything. He used the excuse of not having money for hospital fees to force his mother-in-law to complete discharge procedures. Then he threw her a few boxes of painkillers and a tube, telling her to extract the pus from her breasts herself every day. To maximize his mother's value, Leo even found manual labor work for her online, making her work from morning till night. My mother-in-law was furious but dared not speak, afraid Leo would kick her out of the house. In her current state, she would be shunned and bullied wherever she went. As for me, every day I happily went to work, worked overtime, and tried to minimize encounters with this troublesome mother and son duo. To my surprise, those two still targeted me. That day, I worked overtime until 10:00 p.m. before returning home, finding my mother-in-law and Leo still awake and a guest in the living room. My mother-in-law saw me enter and enthusiastically pulled me over. "Lily, this is Leo's distant cousin, who's staying with us for a few days." She pushed me onto the sofa, bringing a large glass of white liquor, saying it was a custom from his hometown. "We have to toast when we meet." I didn't move, staring at this cousin. "Cousin, where are you from? Are you here looking for work or?" The distant cousin replied, "It's slow earning money back home, so I specifically came here to rely on my cousin and auntie, wanting to start a business in the city." He was lying. His accent was completely different from Leo's hometown. He claimed to be from the countryside, but his hands had no calluses and his skin was quite fair. It was clear something was off. I used the excuse of going to the restroom, quickly took the glass of liquor from my mother-in-law's hand, and drank it all in a gulp. Once in the restroom, I immediately vomited all the alcohol, took out a blush compact from my bag, applied it to make my face flush, and pretended to be drunk. "Sorry, cousin, I'm too tired. I can't entertain you." I stumbled through the sentence and then collapsed onto the bed. My mother-in-law called out twice, giving her instructions. "I told you, Lily's alcohol tolerance isn't good. White liquor plus sedatives, it'd be strange if she didn't fall asleep. Go ahead, customer, enjoy yourself naturally. If you have a good experience, you can help us advertise. My wife has never had children before, 500 yuan per session. If she gets pregnant and has a child, it's 100,000 yuan per child." My mother-in-law relentlessly advertised me to that cousin. Leo was also there, adding to my qualifications. "Top university student, any child she bears will definitely be smart." Now, I completely understood. It turned out these two, mother and son, were short on money and had sold me as a money-making breeding machine. Let's see how I deal with them. After the cousin paid, my mother-in-law quickly locked the room door for him. I heard his footsteps approaching, so I pulled out the pepper spray from my bag and sprayed it directly into his eyes. "Damn it, did you think I was dead?" The man thrashed on the floor, screaming. My mother-in-law and Leo heard the commotion and burst in. Well, you Lily. If anything happens to the client because of you, I'll skin you alive." My mother-in-law snarled at me. I curled my lips into a cold smile. "You old hag with no face and no breasts, let's see if you skin me or if the police skin you." I pulled out my phone. The screen still displayed a call to 911. Leo tried to rush forward and snatch it, but I randomly sprayed the pepper spray. "You scoundrel, the police have already been dispatched. Dare to lay a hand on me and you're dead." I grabbed nearby objects and threw them at the three of them. During the struggle with my mother-in-law, I bit firmly into her arm, tearing off a piece of flesh. Finally, the police arrived. I accused them of pimping. My mother-in-law opened her mouth to deny. "Officers, we were just playing a game. My wife got too into character and became a little overexcited. Don't listen to her." I scoffed, picking up the glass of white liquor from the dining table. There was still some liquid left inside. "This stuff, once tested, will show whether you were playing games or trying to profit from my body." My mother-in-law immediately panicked. "Let's talk slowly. Nothing actually happened, did it?" Leo was even more shameless, denying everything. "It was all my mother's idea. I tried to stop her but couldn't. If you want to arrest someone, arrest my mother," the cousin shouted loudly. "I'm innocent. I just came to stay with them. It was this auntie who insisted on bringing his wife into my room, which led to me getting beaten." The police took all of them to the station. Through testing, the liquid remaining in the liquor glass indeed contained sedative components. The purchase of alcohol, drugs, and contact with clients were all verbally directed by Leo. My mother-in-law carried out the actions. Leo promised his mother that once she served her year in prison, he would give her money for surgery to flatten the scars on her face and breasts. My mother-in-law believed his words and bore all the guilt alone. As for the cousin, for attempted rape, he was temporarily detained and fined, with lighter circumstances than my mother-in-law. After leaving the police station, Leo smirked sinisterly. "Lily, don't celebrate too soon. I still owe Harry tens of thousands. As long as we're not divorced, you have to pay this debt for me." My eyes lit up. What a coincidence. I also owe 100,000 yuan from playing the stock market. Since you're my husband, isn't it only natural for creditors to come to your house to demand payment from you? Humph, he's not on my level to fight me. Leo thought I was just talking big and didn't pay any attention. But the next day, a group of tall, burly thugs came to the house, holding IOUs, demanding money. I pointed at Leo on the sofa. "Boss, this is my husband. All the money I owe was spent by his family. You can go ahead and demand it from him. As for me, I'm going to work hard and earn money, trying to pay you back a little." The burly leader, with a long scar on his face, aggressively approached Leo and spat. "You punk. The day your wife doesn't pay is the day you get beaten." Leo trembled, criticizing them. "Assault is illegal. Be careful or I'll call the police." The thug sneered. "I'll tie you up and beat you in the living room every day. Let's see how you call the police." Leo looked at me. "Lily, you can't just let them commit crimes. This debt was caused by you." I didn't turn my head, preparing to leave. "Before, all of you spent the money I earned. What's wrong with taking a few beatings now to help me pay off the debt? Boss, feel free to beat him as much as you like, just make sure he's still breathing." With a loud slam, the door closed, and Leo's pathetic cries immediately followed. After that, I left in the morning and returned at night, while Leo was beaten in the morning and beaten again at night. The debt collectors didn't hit easily visible spots but focused on places outsiders couldn't see. In less than 5 days, Leo, covered in injuries, surrendered. "Lily, I want a divorce. You pay your own debts. I'll take on Harry's debt myself." I calmly took a sip of water and asked, "What if you change your mind once you're out?" Leo weakly said, "If I change my mind, let a car run me over and kill me. The Civil Affairs Bureau hasn't closed yet. Hurry and help me go. One more day, and I'm afraid I'll die at the hands of these bastards." With the cooperation of the thugs, I finally divorced Leo. Because he had no money, Leo had to move out of his parents' house and into a semi-basement room. As for me, I no longer needed to pretend to be poor in the Leo family's home. I retrieved the savings I had transferred to my parents and paid the down payment for a new apartment. The day I signed the apartment purchase contract at the sales office, Leo happened to come there looking for work. He angrily pointed at me. "Lily, didn't you say you were drowning in debt? Turns out you were tricking me. Just to get a divorce, right? Do you believe I'll report you for squandering marital assets? My smile faded. Fool. The stock market has surged recently, and the money I invested has multiplied several times over. Did you think I was like you, only capable of losing money? Leo's expression changed. Playing stocks really makes that much money? You're not lying to me, are you? I rolled my eyes and took out my phone to show him the news. Plenty of people get rich playing stocks. The more Leo looked, the brighter his eyes became. It seemed my trick had worked. Leo looked utterly desperate for it. He said those words and quickly left. I heard news of him a month later. On the news report, a man had borrowed heavily to play the stock market, lost everything, and was ultimately pursued by creditors, jumping from a tall building to end his life in his 30s. That man, by coincidence, was Leo. Learning of Leo's death, my mother-in-law, who was in prison, suffered immense pain. Since Leo's only remaining relative was his mother, there was no one to handle his funeral after he died. My mother-in-law requested permission from the prison to return home to mourn, arrange Leo's funeral, and send him off on his final journey. The funeral hall was desolate. My mother-in-law knelt on the ground, burning paper offerings and recounting her days of suffering in prison. Because her face was ruined and her breasts constantly emitted a foul odor, my mother-in-law was shunned by her fellow inmates. Every day they stole her food, gave her the dirtiest and most exhausting jobs, and made her sleep on a soaking wet blanket, constantly waking up from the cold. Leo, I'm so tired. Now you're gone too. I have nothing left to hope for in this world. Wait for me. I'll come down there with you and your father soon. Burning all the paper offerings in her hands, my mother-in-law, while the guard wasn't paying attention, suddenly slammed her head hard against the leg of the coffin. Blood flowed continuously. When I arrived at the funeral hall, this was the scene. The guard quickly called an ambulance to take my mother-in-law to the hospital, but ultimately they couldn't save her. My mother-in-law died at the age of 60, with no one to see her off, in utter desolation.